like to welcome everyone in, and this is for the City of Pasadena and the One Arroyo Foundation Trail Project. It was a wonderful public-private partnership that brought this together. We have a number of speakers that will come up and give you more information and details about that, so I'll leave them to it. However, I do want to recognize a few dignitaries at the moment. We have members of our Rec and Park Commission here. If you please give them a hand. And we have our council liaisons, our representatives here as well. And thank you all for coming. We also have some our upper administrative folks from Public Works and our engineering department. And many members of the public and the One Arroyo Foundation board. Thank you. So at this time, I'd like to bring up Mayor Victor Gordo.
It's too bad that the drum line is left, because I was going to thank the Pasadena High School drum line for providing such great. All right. I tried. The John Muir High School drum line for providing great entertainment. I, of course, attended Pasadena High School, so. The drum line has provided great entertainment for decades and is always a treat to watch at the football game. So if you've never been to a rivalry game, the turkey tussle between John Muir and Pasadena High School, you should make it a point to go this year, enjoy the drum line, and enjoy great football. But let me begin by paying homage to the Tonga people. Tonga means people on the earth. The Tonga were the first people to take care of the Arroyo Seco, and so we owe them a great gratitude for having curated this land for all of us, and ensuring that their legacy, it's our responsibility to ensure their legacy continues here. I tell people one of the things that makes Pasadena great, and I recently welcomed leaders from throughout California to Pasadena this past week from the League of Cities, mayors from across the country. And one of the things that I said to them is, Pasadena is special. They all want to talk about architecture. They all want to talk about our business district. Of course, they want to talk about our museums. They want to talk about the Rose Bowl, the Convention Center, all of the things, JPL, that come to mind when you think about Pasadena. But I reminded all of them that the Arroyo Seco is such a unique space, a contiguous space from the mountains to the sea. And I said to them, think in your mind's eye, what other city in the entire region and in the entire state, in the midst of its city, in the midst of its neighborhoods, has such a beautiful natural space? And people were challenged to think about that. Now, some of the cities in Northern California challenged me on it, but that's okay. I hold my ground that there are very few, if any other cities that enjoy such a beautiful, contiguous, open space. And so we have a responsibility to meet the challenge as set to us by the Tonga people. And I would say a moral responsibility to future generations to ensure that what the Tonga people curated for Pasadena remains for future generations of Pasadenans and beyond. And that's why we are here. Having said that, let me begin by thanking two leaders of One Arroyo, a big part of why we're here. Doug Cranwinkle, who's here with us today, and of course, I tell people every mayor has a mayor. Even city mayors have a mayor, and my mayor is Bill Bogard, our mayor, Bill Bogard, who was here with us today, who played a tremendous role in ensuring that this effort got started and is a success. This project is also about community partnerships. The City of Pasadena, as a local government, can't be the one to get everything done. And so we rely on our rich tradition in Pasadena of volunteerism, of people being involved, and yes, people pushing City Hall to do the right thing with its limited resources, but also bringing resources to the table. And so here we are celebrating a great restoration that will be enjoyed by generations. That is also part of a public-private partnership. And so we should celebrate all of the organizations that contributed to that. Let's hear it for all of the foundations, especially the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy and One Arroyo for their effort to joint effort with the city to make this possible today. So let's give them a round of applause as well. You know, I'm struck by One Arroyo's vision statement, which calls on all of us to embrace the Arroyo Seco as a unifying space and a sanctuary for wildlife and people. And that really is a reminder of why we're here. You know, I recall when we commenced the discussion on One Arroyo, and some of us took a trip back east to visit places like Central Park in in New York, and visit with the Conservancy people there. And we learned from the Conservancy folks in Central Park that it took 30 years for them to really get to the point where they were, where they are today and were then. It took 30 years of individuals working collectively to ensure that that vision of having a better place in the midst of their city was improved. I would say to all of you that we should recommit to that model, to the Conservancy model, that will improve our Central Park here in Pasadena, the Arroyo. I would say to One Arroyo and all of you who support One Arroyo, thank you for your individual effort, and thank you all for your collective effort to ensure that our Central Park here in Pasadena continues to shine and continues to be a part of what makes our great city so special. So with that, I'll turn it back over and thank everyone for being here today. And you're welcome for the great weather. Mr. Madison and I made a motion this past Monday to ensure that this morning was, I think it was my motion or your motion? My motion, thank you. To ensure that Saturday morning would be nice and cool with a nice breeze, and it worked out. So thank you all very much. Enjoy the day.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. Wonderful remarks. At this time, I did forget one office I wanted to recognize, which is Senator Portantino's office is here as well. They had an instrumental hand. So thank you very much, Dominic, for being around. And then it's my pleasure to bring up Vice Mayor Steve Madison for his remarks, and Council District Representative for this District 6. Thank you.
I'm really honored to be here today, and I just want to echo the mayor and commend all of you who had such an important role in realizing this vision. Obviously, you know, it has to start with Mayor Bill Bogart and Doug Cranwinkle, and I just want to recognize them again. You know, I teased them. This is Wimbledon time, and you know, I said, is this like the royal box here, you know, for Pasadena with Mayor Bogart and Doug Cranwinkle? And you will not have or see in my lifetime certainly better leaders and role models than Bill Bogart and Doug Cranwinkle. But as they will be the first to point out, you know, these things happen as part of partnership and team. I want to give a shout out to Candy Rennick with the foundation. She's the best. Also Rick Gould, who I believe is here, Cynthia Kurtz, all of the board members who just hung in there and really pursued this great vision that we're here to celebrate the beginning of today. I would also say the city played a role. The city has helped with some financial and other support. And for Coco and Garrett and the entire park staff, we're deeply grateful. I did hurt my ankle, but not on city park property, so there's no liability concern. And really all of you, the Conservancy was mentioned, Senator Portantino, who's been such a tremendous friend of ours for so long on projects like this. Just if I could, a quick word about this space, and I'm so grateful to the mayor for acknowledging and recognizing our Native American forebears. This space really is sacred space, the Arroyo Seco in Pasadena. And my district covers probably about half of the total area. I think all of what we call the lower Arroyo, south of the bridge, is in my council district. Then the central Arroyo, much of this area too, but I also share that with Councilmember Hampton, who is on the east side. And then the upper Arroyo, which I think the parts that are Pasadena, which is substantially the entire amount, is again in that district. But if you look at the different segments, they're very different in terms of their look and feel and the nature of what we do there. We find ourselves here in the Central Arroyo, which is really defined by family recreation. We have aquatics, tennis, soccer, softball, baseball, walking and biking around the loop, golf, 2 golf courses that we're very proud to own and operate as the city. Obviously, the Rose Bowl Stadium, where we have such wonderful events, year in, year out, and capped, of course, by the events of New Year's Day. And that's as it should be. The lower Arroyo is different. The lower Arroyo, we do not want an urban park there, but we definitely, through this project and everything that we do, we want to open it up to the entire community to enjoy the open space and tranquility that a hike or a walk or a run can provide in that space. And then the upper Arroyo is largely wetlands with other amenities sort of around the edges. So we're very proud of this gem of Pasadena and very, very excited about beginning what I hope will be miles of improved trails and guideposts and the like so that people can enjoy it. So I really tip my hat to all of you. Thank you. I'm honored to be here and look forward to the groundbreaking. Thank you.
Prior to being the Assistant City Manager, I had the pleasure of serving as the Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Director. And if you haven't met Coco, he now has that job. So I've been around a little while when this project got off the ground. So it's so very exciting to actually make it to this day where we have the opportunity to do a groundbreaking. Now, it's not really a groundbreaking. And this dirt, they just brought it in. Because, the trail is really like down over there. So this is really staged because where do we live? In Hollywood. And so as part of that, we are all part of the show. But one of the exciting things about being part of the show is we are actors and we are dancers and we are musicians. But we also have the real people who do the nitty-gritty work, which are the engineers and the contractors, the public works maintenance workers. And I have the privilege of working day in and day out with those folks. So once this trail is completed and our acting public works director will be describing the project in a little bit more detail for you, then the real players get to play. Our maintenance workers will maintain it, but our engineers have helped design it. And it's been such a pleasure and such an amazing cooperative partnership to work with this wonderful organization, One Arroyo, and how privileged we are as a city to have some citizens who would want to group together and help the city pay for improvements in our park, in our wonderful natural area that our other speakers have talked about how blessed we are to have in Pasadena. So for me, it is an honor and it is a pleasure and it is great to be here. And I thank you all for coming out. And there really is a little bit more shade if some of you wanted to move into some more shade. One of the things about this being such a great project, I don't think we expected so many people to show up. So when Garrett scoped this out and how much shade there'd be here at this time, might have underestimated it a little bit. However, it is great to have you all here, and we are excited, and I know that all of you and probably many, many more will be here when we do the ribbon cutting, and we're already planning that event. So thank you very much for coming, and we are so excited. Thank you.
Luckily for everybody, I feel like an actor in all this too, but I am not going to sing or dance, and I've got a lot of people to thank, hence the paper. But it's big script and heavy font, so I can read it, and it won't take too long. My name's Dan Rothenberg. I'm the president of the board of directors for One Arroyo Foundation. I've been privileged to be in that role since we formed in 2019 and getting work next to an amazing group of people that got us here. We've worked and strived to preserve and keep the Arroyo Seco. And this has been the beginning of that journey and a project that has led us to trying to start to show what these public-private partnerships can really do. I'm going to spend a lot of time trying to thank some people, and I've got too many, so I got to read off the paper here. Unfortunately, there's too many to thank, but I'm going to highlight specific ones that I really think need this public appreciation now. Our initial funders and groups that have supported us obviously starts with all the folks you just saw, the mayor and the rest of city staff who have been amazing partners from day one. So we really owe a lot of our success and appreciation to them. Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy was one of our initial supporters and is really instrumental in getting us here. And a lot of that work due to Senator Portantino's office, which I'll touch on in a minute. We've had other foundations, Pasadena Community Foundations, the Parson Foundation, Kaiser Foundation, Irishshire Foundation, LA Board of Supervisors, and especially, our supervisor, Catherine Barger, was a very early supporter of One Arroyo and kind of helped us get off the ground. And really all the donors and all of you who are here supporting us now. It's amazing to see faces that I remember our first event and the first time I was twisting people's arms to help us and get us going. And seeing a lot of those faces here today means a lot. We've got a donor board back over there that you're welcome to peruse and see if you want to pick out any other names. It's too long to go through today. So on behalf of the board, I'd like to thank everybody. As I mentioned, I'd like to extend a special thanks to Senator Portantino. His initial support and funding of the organization through the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy was instrumental in getting us here. And we could not have gotten here without the support of his office and everyone involved in that. He's unfortunately not able to be here today, but represented by his district representative, Dominic, and Declan Floyd. And I think actually at this time, I'd like to invite Dominic up to say a few words on their behalf.
For me, this is a bittersweet moment because officially this is my last event for Senator Portantino. I will be working with the One Arroyo Foundation as I move on to my next journey with the Rose Bowl Operating Committee. Thank you. So if you know the senator, you know he's passionate about a couple things. And the last 2 days, the senator has been sending myself and Declan and our team multiple texts about the One Arroyo and being here today. So I'm going to read a statement and some words from him. But it is an honor here to be representing Senator Portantino. Today's groundbreaking marks the beginning of a series of important projects being undertaken to revitalize Pasadena's most important natural area, not only for our trails, wonderful places for people to hike and appreciate the beauty of the world around us, but they also serve as essential passages for numerous species of wildlife that they call home. Senator Portantino was proud to secure $1 million for this critical trail linkage project through the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy in 2022 as part of his longstanding commitment to protecting open space and making sure that the state prioritizes conservation and sustainable land management. Special thanks to Joe Edmiston, the staff of the Santa Monica Mountain Conservancy, the board, and especially Tim Windler for making this happen. We, of course, extend our thanks to the City of Pasadena, the One Arroyo Foundation, as well as a special thanks to Bill Bogart and Doug Krenwinkel. Yes, come on. I remember when they first brought the project to the senator and asked for this funding. I was sitting in the meeting, and the way that they talked about the trails made me want to take off my suit and get out there and go hike. So if anybody ever wants to see the trails and what they're going to be, you should reach out to Rick Gold. Amazing, amazing, amazing trail guide. Gives you the best information about the whole One Arroyo. So we would like to thank them on behalf of our office and Senator Portantino. And as an office, we look forward to working with the One Arroyo Foundation and the City of Pasadena to make this trail come into fruition with all the other different projects. And if Dan and the mayor can come up, we do have a certificate on behalf of Senator Portantino. Come on, Steve, you can come too, just to represent today. So I joined the Pasadena community in celebrating this happy occasion. This project will ensure that sustainability of the One Arroyo Seco and the One Arroyo Seco Foundation, so that people and animals alike can continue to make the use of extensive trail network for generations to come. I thank you for your commitment to preserving open space in our Crown City. Thank you guys for today.
But John Onderdonk, Dexter Bailey, Gail Cole, I think Lawrence Lurvey I saw here, Paula Veretti, Diane Wittenberg, Christopher Lee, I think Lena Kennedy was here, and you've heard their names repeatedly, but Doug and Bill, thank you for everything. You know, we look at you as the founders of all this, and privileged to have been able to work with you for these years and stand by your side. Finally, I want to talk about the staff of One Arroyo, because they really are doing all the work and we just get to take all the credit. As Dominic mentioned, Rick Gould, who's really overseen this project from the get-go and was leading us. He's pretty busy and worn out, but he is a hell of a trail guide, and if anyone wants to go out with him, we're happy to help facilitate that. He probably knows the Arroyo better than anybody else I know at this point. Daryl Dunn, whose idea really was to form One Arroyo back years ago. As Steve mentioned, Candy Rennick, who does a great job with all our communications and fundraising and planning. Judy Kent, who I don't believe is here today, but she keeps us in line. Oh, there she is. Hi, okay. Without her writing my script for me, I wouldn't be anywhere near as successful as I am here, and she keeps us all in line in everything we do. And finally, to Cynthia Kurtz, who stepped in as interim executive director here, and really in the last 5 to 6 months has helped us move things forward incredibly and gotten us to the moment we're at today. Finally, I have to thanks to my amazing wife and my family for supporting all the work that I do and put into efforts like this, and generally putting up with me in a broad sense. She did not have to ask me to thank her this morning. Finally, I'll go back to our thanks to Santa Monica Mountain Conservancy, and I'd like to invite Miguel Luna from the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy Board of Directors, and then Tim Wendler, who sits on the Santa Monica Conservancy Advisory Committee, to say a few words. As I said, without their support, we wouldn't be here today. Thank you all for being here. This is just our start, and we're going to keep going, so we appreciate the support and continued work with the community. Thanks, everybody.
The fondest memories of my childhood go back to spending time in a river in my hometown in Colombia in South America. And in that river, I learned lots of things. I learned to be patient because the water was cold in that river and my body had to acclimate to it. And I was an only child then, so that river became my kin. So I learned this mutual respect and so almost a sense of entitlement. And with entitlement comes responsibility. And with that responsibility comes a big task of stewardship and ensuring that that thing that gave you, that system that gave you so much, that you're able to give that back. As Dan said, my name is Miguel Luna. You may not know me, but I want you to know that all of the board members on the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy have these stories of connection to nature, along with my colleague, Tim Wendler. So, it's places like this, it's projects like this that provide that very needed connection to nature. And it's places like this, as I mentioned in my story, that not only remind me of home, but make me feel at home. And besides the ecological benefits that projects like this have of connecting people to nature, these projects promote opportunities of community engagement and stewardship of natural resources. And these foster a sense, again, as I mentioned, of responsibility towards conservation efforts. The reason why the Santa Monica Mountains is able to contribute to projects like this is because we get our funding from state bonds. And so as there will be a state bond at the end of the year for all of you to consider to support. But for these bonds, which are part of our money, this is your money reinvested, we have to see it in our local communities. So that's what this is. It's a reinvestment in our local communities, so we know that the money that we are contributing to the state is coming back locally. Part of the Conservancy's mission is to preserve, protect, restore, and enhance treasured pieces of Southern California, to form an interlinking system of urban, rural, and river parks, open space, trails, and wildlife habitat that are easily accessible to the general public. We certainly believe at the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy that the Arroyo Seco is a treasure of Southern California, and we are very proud to be able to support this project. We are very happy to invest in a One Arroyo for all. Thank you so much.
Continuing with our theme of kind of honoring our history and those who have come before us, such as the mayor talked about earlier with the Tongva. In 1911, President Teddy Roosevelt came to the Arroyo on horseback and rode through the area. And out of that, he remarked, this should be a national park. And, and interestingly, just a few months ago, it became part of a national monument, or expanded San Gabriel Mountains National Monument. So the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy is just really glad to be part of the effort to realize those who have come before us, their visions of this area, and to look for opportunities to connect our urban environments with our natural environments while respecting the natural environment and the habitat and the wildlife who live there. So thank you all for being here, and thank you for allowing us to be part of this great effort.
Public Works is truly excited to have reached this milestone, working alongside One Arroyo Foundation to bring this project to this junction in an exemplary private-public partnership. So groundbreakings are our favorite part of the job because it symbolizes culmination of months and even years of meticulous work and collaboration with our community to complete the design phase of the project. So today, we initiate bringing this project to life with start of construction. With that, I would like to acknowledge Rick Gould and Cynthia Kurtz for their unwavering dedication and collaborative spirit working with the city to get us to this point. And of course, RJM. I believe we have here Zach Muting. Thank you for preparing the plans. At this point, the city will be taking on the construction phase of the project. And we competitively bid the plans prepared by RJM. And on June 10th, City Council awarded the contract to Belfry Contractors. They specialize in building and restoration of natural trails. So they work in open space. Their last project for the city was the Annandale Canyon Open Space Trail project back in 2021. We have a lot of faith in you. Hans Kiefer is the owner and here today. So we're gonna start construction, mobilizing August 19th and be done within 3 months, right, Hans? 3 months, no pressure. So upon completion, this project is gonna provide the community a safer, more accessible and contiguous routes throughout the central Arroyo, rehabilitating almost 4 miles of deteriorated trail segments and improving various trail features. We will be doing some grading, repairing drainage dips to improve and control drainage, providing rock armor for erosion control, placing stone terracing for steep trail areas, installing a small footbridge to allow safe traversing for our users, and some fencing, lodgepole fencing, and of course some stone retaining wall repairs. So with that, I hope to see everybody in 3 months for the ribbon cutting. And I also want to acknowledge one other person from my team who helped us get here, working meticulously with all the stakeholders, and that's Hayden Melbourne, our principal engineer. And he will continue moving this project forward to culmination. Thank you, everyone.